Welcome to Biga Multimedia, where story is life, and learning is our habit, history is our home of lessons for the present. Let's continue the story of the Clever Parrot's Hour of Strategy, Part 4, The Whispering Trees Test. The jungle grew still as Pico and his companions stood before the whispering trees. Their twisted branches reached out like arms, and the air around them was thick with a strange, heavy energy. The trees whispered constantly, 1,000 voices murmuring secrets, warnings, and temptations, all mingling together in a chorus that made it hard to think. Ollie, ever wise, took the lead. These trees are ancient, Pico. They've seen more than you can imagine, and they don't give up their secrets easily. Tico, the sleek jaguar, looked uneasy for the first time. His muscles tensed, his eyes darting around. I don't like this place. The air feels wrong. Zara, usually so lighthearted, was also tense. What if we get lost? These trees, they're shifting. And indeed, the trees seemed to sway and shift even though there was no wind. Paths that seemed clear one moment twisted and disappeared the next. Shadows played tricks on their eyes, and the whispers grew louder the deeper they ventured. Pico knew he had to act fast before fear gripped his companions. His mind worked through the situation. The whispering trees weren't just a physical obstacle, they were a test of wit, patience, and mental strength. The stories said that the trees could sense weakness and prey on it, leading travelers in circles until they were lost forever. Stay close to each other, Pico instructed, his usual cheerful tone now serious. The trees want to confuse us, but if we stay together and think clearly, we can find the way. Ollie nodded. We mustn't let them get into our minds. The trick is to ignore the whispers. They're meant to distract us. They began to move forward slow and steady. The path ahead twisted and turned, but Pico led the way, his sharp eyes watching for signs that might indicate the true direction. The trees seemed to lean closer as they walked, their branches almost brushing against them. Then, the voices began to change. At first, the whispers were faint, like distant conversations, but now they became clearer, personal. Each animal began to hear something different, something meant just for them. Zara suddenly stopped, her eyes wide. I hear, my family, my mother's calling for me. Tico growled low, his ears flattening against his head. Someone's hunting us. I can hear them in the shadows. Pico himself could hear a voice. It was soft, gentle, and familiar. It sounded like an old friend, someone from his past, calling his name, urging him to turn back. But Pico knew better. He had heard stories of the whispering trees' tricks, and he wasn't about to fall for it. It's not real, Pico shouted, snapping his companions out of their trances. The trees are trying to trick us. Ignore the voices. Zara blinked, her ears twitching. But it sounded so real. They're using our fears and memories against us, Pico said, flapping his wings to gain their attention. We have to focus. Ollie, can you sense the true path? The wise tortoise, who had been moving slowly behind them, closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the ground beneath him. There is a pattern, he said slowly. The trees may twist, but the roots beneath them remain steady. We need to follow the ground, not the branches. Pico nodded, trusting Ollie's instincts. They followed the path as it curved. But this time, Pico kept his eyes on the roots, as Ollie had suggested. Whenever a branch or tree tried to mislead them, the roots beneath revealed the truth. It was subtle, but it worked. However, the whispers didn't let up. In fact, they grew more insistent, louder. The trees seemed angry and the air felt heavier, like the weight of a storm pressing down on them. Then, just as they were nearing what Pico believed to be the heart of the whispering trees, a new challenge arose. The ground beneath them began to shift. Tico leaped back as the earth opened into a series of pits and trenches, each one deep and dark, filled with swirling fog. Zara, quick as ever, darted away from one of the pits just in time. We can't get across, These pits are everywhere! Pico hovered above, his keen eyes searching for a safe path. But every direction seemed blocked by more pits, more trenches, and the fog made it impossible to see what lay beneath. One wrong step, and they could fall into a trap from which they might never return. Ollie, slow but steady, moved carefully to the edge of one of the pits, studying it. These pits aren't natural. The trees are creating them. Pico, perched on a branch above, squinted through the mist. His mind raced. The whispering trees were pushing harder, testing their resolve. The pits were another trick. But like all the other obstacles, there had to be a way through. He remembered something Ollie had said earlier. The roots remained steady. The trees might shift, but their roots were always grounded, always constant. "That's it!" Pico exclaimed. "We can't trust the ground or what we see, but we can trust the roots. We need to follow the roots again." Tico looked up. "But how can we follow the roots if we can't see them through the fog?" Pico flapped his wings and dove down, landing near one of the smaller pits. He carefully extended a talon, brushing it against the edge of the pit where the roots were exposed. The roots formed a bridge, a natural path, hidden beneath the mist. "Here!" Pico called out. "The roots are solid. They form bridges over the pits. We just need to feel our way across." Ollie, Tico, and Zara followed Pico's lead, moving cautiously across the pits, their feet always testing the ground for the steady presence of the roots. It was slow going, but eventually they made it to the other side of the treacherous trench. The whispers faded as they stepped into a small clearing at the very heart of the whispering trees. The air here was still, and the trees no longer twisted or swayed. In the center of the clearing was a large stone altar, overgrown with vines and moss, but still intact. And there, resting atop the altar, was a treasure beyond anything they had imagined. It wasn't just gold or jewels. It was a collection of ancient scrolls, crystal-clear fruits that glowed with light, and a crown made of woven vines and leaves, shimmering with energy. "The treasure," Zara whispered in awe. "It's real." Pico hopped forward, his sharp eyes scanning the altar. "This isn't just wealth. It's knowledge. These scrolls, they must hold the secrets of the jungle." Ollie nodded slowly. "The jungle's wisdom, passed down through the ages. This is what the whispering trees guard." Tico, who had been so tense throughout the journey, now relaxed, a smile crossing his face. "We did it. We found the treasure." Pico, ever the strategist, knew this was more than just a victory. This was the key to understanding the entire jungle. With these scrolls, they could unlock the secrets of the forest, learn about its hidden powers, and maybe even reshape the balance of the animal kingdom. But as Pico looked at the treasure, he realized something else. The whispering trees had tested them, yes, but it wasn't just about outsmarting them. It was about patience, trust, and teamwork. Without Zara's speed, Tico's strength, and Ollie's wisdom, he never would have made it here. "We did it together," Pico said quietly, looking at his companions. "The trees didn't just test me. They tested all of us." Ollie smiled, and together, we passed. As the jungle began to awaken once more, the treasure of the whispering trees was theirs. But what they had gained along the way, courage, wisdom, and the strength of friendship, was the true reward. So now that they have what they want, what will be their next move? Part 5 of the story will be The Return and the Reckoning. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button from Biga Multimedia. Drop your comments if you love this story. Stay tuned for the continuation of the story on my next post. Until then, bye-bye. Till then, bye.